Okay, we should have Nrupesh Shah, Executive Director at Symphony Limited, joining us shortly. Let's check if he is with us. Okay, he should be with us. Let's talk about the earnings of Symphony. In the third quarter, the net sales are up 19.5% at 179.6 crore. That's about 180 crore. And profit after tax is up 43% at 56 crore. The EBIT has come in at 66 crore for Symphony. How's the stock doing in trade right now? The stock is down 1.5%. That's Symphony for you. Let's go across to Nrupesh Shah, Executive Director at Symphony. Sir, I think the street expectations from Symphony in the third quarter were running higher, but I wanted you to first run through the highlights in this quarter for Symphony.
So for the quarter, the top line is 180 crore and PAT is about 56 crore. Top line wise, the growth is about 11% and PAT wise, the growth is about 18%. The performance is in light of the demonetization during the quarter. Up to 31st October end, company was registering robust growth. In the month of November, on account of demonetization, it was almost like a washout. But in the month of December, business was back to normal. There was quite robust growth, and same we have registered even in the month of January and now onwards. December quarter performance is on account of this, but down the line what we expect, one on account of demonetization and secondly because of GST, ultimately it should hugely benefit to the organized sector.
And you're poised to capitalize on that, but there's no denying, sir, that there would be a period of transition. Even in the case of GST, there will be perhaps some pain before the gains begin to kick in. I wanted to ask you, the January to March quarter, demonetization, of course, an unforeseen event, and we can totally empathize and understand how that would have affected business for Symphony. But when you say that normalcy is visible in January, how are you defining normalcy? Are you comparing it to, January last year? Can you give us some more details on what has improved in January over November and December?
So I would compare vis-a-vis November, December as well as vis-a-vis previous year. So of course in the month of December on YOY basis there was a decent growth and of course much better than November. As far as January is concerned, in fact it has been a robust growth not only vis-a-vis November and December but also on YOY basis. So business is absolutely back to normal starting December.
Okay, sir. Can you give us a sense of how business is likely to grow? Just give us a sense for the full year, what kind of number we can look at in terms of Symphony's full year performance?
So 9 months as a whole, Symphony's top line growth is about 25% and bottom line growth is close to 29%. So year as a whole, that is as on 31st March, in line with our overall guidance given earlier, we should register about 20-25% growth.
So in terms of products, where's the maximum traction visible? Where's the least traction visible?
Now we are seeing the traction in domestic business. Of course, in first 9 months, even international business has registered almost 40% growth, and of course, centralized air cooling on a very low base is also registering robust growth. Not only that, in last 2 quarters, Symphony has come out with new range of models, that is iTouch models, and that has received overwhelming response. In fact, their real supply has started only recently, but there has been very robust advance payment by the trade channel.
So in light of the changing product mix, what should our expectations be of Symphony's margins going forward?
By and large, we should be in a position to maintain our current margin. If we talk about first 9 months margin, our gross margin has been higher by about 10 BPS as far as PAT margin is concerned, on a YOY basis, it is higher by 110 BPS, and same is the case even for the quarter. But by and large, in the vicinity of current margin, we are confident to maintain it.
So what's the number, sir, we should look at?
No, sorry, I won't be in a position to give you the specific numbers, but year as a whole on YOY basis, we are confident to achieve about 25% growth and also proportionate growth in profitability.
Sir, can you give us a sense of the new dealer additions, because that was a process that was underway and I understand it helped offset the negative impact of demonetization. How is that really looking now? How are you poised for this Jan to March quarter, which is when interest again begins to pick up in coolers?
Very recently all over India, in fact at several dozens of locations, we had dealer conference, and dealer confidence, trade confidence is absolutely back to normal. And because of that, as you know, in Symphony we work on 100% advance payment basis. So for us the real barometer is the advances to be collected from the trade channel. And as I said, in the month of January and before that even in the month of December, there has been excellent collection and registering very robust growth on YOY basis. So subject to weather, we are very confident of maintaining our growth momentum.
Right. So I was also keen to know how many dealers you're adding, or have you sort of in a sense achieved the optimal dealer network now?
Exact number of dealers we are not giving in public domain, but just to give some idea, on a YOY basis in the current year we have already added almost 20% more dealers, and we believe that easily the number of dealers we can increase at least by 100% in next 4 to 5 years. There is a huge potential, whether it is in metropolitan, tier 1, tier 2 or tier 3 cities and towns. Not only that, we do have tie-up with almost all the organized retailers, including e-commerce as well as physical large retailers, and also with several regional organized retailers.
And the e-commerce piece, sir, how much is it now in terms of revenue contribution?
Organized retail as a whole contributes almost 14 to 15% of our top line on annual basis, which was just 2 to 3% 3 to 4 years, and it is registering almost 40-50% YOY growth.
Nrupesh Shah, Executive Director, Symphony Limited, many thanks for your time here on NDTV. We really appreciate it, sir, and we look forward to more frequent conversations as business comes almost completely back to normal. You said January is certainly looking that way. Thank you, sir.
Pleasure.
On that note, it's a wrap on this show, but the 2:30 Factor with Pankaj Poddar is coming right up. So keep watching. The last hour of trade, will it deliver more gains or slide into losses? Find out on the 2:30 Factor.